Next, we're going to look at an example where we have the C term is positive, but now the B term is negative. So again, we're factoring trinomials. In this case, we're looking at quadratic expressions, where the highest agreed term is x squared. And we're going to try to convert these into factored form. So the first thing we're going to do, as when we did the positive example, is we're going to factor our C term. And our C term, once again, in this example, happens to be 48. So are going to list all the factors of 48. 48 and 1, 24 and 2, 16 and 3, 12 and 4, and 8 and 6. So all I've done is find all of the factored pairs of my C term, which is 48. Now, once I've done this, I'm going to look at the sign immediately preceding my C term, which in this case is a plus sign or a positive, and that is the operation I'm going to use with each of my factored pairs here to determine which numbers are going to go in my factors. So we're going to use the plus sign, the positive, so 48 plus 1 is 49, 24 plus 2 is 26, 16 plus 3 is 19, 12 plus 4 is 16, and 8 plus 6 is 14. The next thing we're going to do after we factored the C term and looked at the sum in this case, because this is a plus sign, of all these terms, we're going to see which of these sums matches our B term, which in this case is 26. If you look at your factors, the two factors of 48 that give us a sum of 26 are 24 and 2. So those are the two factors we're going to be using in our terms. So next you're going to write your two factors. And my two factors, you write the largest first, are 24 and 2. So once again, we factored the C term. We used the sign immediately preceding the C term, which in this case is a positive, and we use that to run the operations on all of the factors. Once we've done that, we find which pair of factors gives us the B term, which in this case is 26. And we found that it was 24 and 2. I then put those into factored form with the 24 and the 2, which leaves us our last step is to figure out which signs go in the parentheses. And there's two approaches you can use to this. The first one is whatever the sign of the B term is, in this case the sign of the B term is negative, your largest factor will always have that term, will always have that sign. So our largest factor is 24. 24 will be negative. In determining the second factor, if the last term, the C term, is positive, these two signs will be the same. The reason they are the same is because when they multiply these two terms together, these factors, I must get a positive 48 as my product. The only way to do that is to have a positive times a positive or a negative times a negative. Therefore, this also will be negative. So my two factors will be x minus 24 and x minus 2. The other way to look at it, negative 26 is your B term. So between this value and this value, we must get a negative 26. Negative 24 and negative 2 gives us negative 26. If I were to make this a positive 2, it would not work because negative 24 plus 2 would give us a negative 22, not negative 26. And we have to ensure that these two terms here, when added together, give us the B term.